Hello everyone, I'm here today to show you the new stove that I have. It's a David West design hobo stove. It's a neat little stove and it's so useful just to have like a little place to build a fire, to enjoy a fire. You could cook on it, and of course in fire making videos they come in very handy for the demonstration. It'll last quite a while if you keep it out of the weather, because it's made out of a tin can, so you have to take care of it. If you don't mind building one about once a year, you could leave it out in the weather. It don't matter, and reuse all the components I'm going to show you in a minute. But anyway, we're going to fire it up using these materials I'll describe. We're going to do something with char cloth, and the fire is going to be started in a way that seems to be very popular with people who view my YouTube videos. So stand by and let's see this thing fired up for the first time. The stove's very simple in design. It's just a 1 gallon food container can. This one held Hershey's chocolate. I got it from a Dairy Queen. They use a lot of this stuff. You have air holes drilled in along the bottom and the top, and it has a raised bed to keep the coals off the bottom. That way you have 100% airflow up to the fire. You got the feed hole cover cut in here. You could feed fuel that way, but most of the time it's not in use, and you have a cover to keep your fuel from spilling out. Pretty simple design. The bolts are a little heavy, but they're designed to be that way. It lowers the center of gravity of the stove, makes it more stable, as well as splaying out the legs. Does the same thing. Very steady. I don't have my pot holder made yet. That'll come later. But I am happy with the progress I've made so far with the stove. It seems every time I'm looking at the views on my videos, the videos about flint and steel seem to have the most interest. So that's what I'm going to start the fire today with, flint and steel. I'm also going to make some more char cloth, which is another thing you use with flint and steel, and you'll see that in a minute. But I think I'm on my last piece, so I'm going to go ahead and make some char cloth with this fire. So there's a purpose for making the fire. I'm going to use a pine needle tinder bundle. These are some shavings, small kindling, and your fuel, all taken from a 2x4. It's been raining here for a couple of weeks, and everything's wet, and it wasn't my purpose to show how I can make a fire in the rain. I just want to make a fire to inaugurate my new stove and make some char cloth. All right, flint and steel has been around since the frontier days here in America, and a lot longer in history. I guess as long as there's been carbon steel available to humans, they knew that a spark would come from the steel when struck against a rock, and I'm sure somewhere along the line somebody put 2 and 2 together and used that spark to create a fire. We're going to use char cloth today as the tinder, and I've only got a piece left, so we're going to make some more of that as well today. Well, I could probably make several fires with what I've got left. This is the hem off a pair of blue jeans, and what you do, you start off by tearing the fabric. You want to expose a lot of those little hairs or fibers. Let's see if I can get that to come into focus for you. Can you see those little hairs, those little fibers? The more that you have exposed, the greater the success rate on creating an ember with char cloth. It's pretty easy. You take your char cloth and you lay it across a suitable flint or stone. Flint a lot of times is the generic term for any type of rock that when you break it, it shatters and creates very sharp edges. I believe this is a jasper. First time using it, so I'm gonna have to go a little trial and error here for you. But you lay it along a portion where you've got a cut edge that's going to be real close to the char cloth, about 1/8 of an inch. And you're going to come down and just strike the stone at an angle or in an arc to create sparks, and hopefully one's going to catch. It don't always catch on the first time, sometimes not even the 20th. Let's see what we're going to do here. Oop, almost. There we go. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like we got it. You should be able to see that. All right. I've already made up this pine needle tinder bundle. Place it in there. Kind of get it covered up in there, and you ain't got to be in a big hurry. That char cloth lasts for a good bit of time, and it's going to heat up that area right there where it's at. Just a little bit of air should get it. And there you go. Flint and steel and char cloth. And drop that down in there. Got a little bit more I'll put down in there. All of that is a little bit damp. Sorry about the smoke. Let me see if I could get it repositioned for you where the smoke ain't gonna bother you. Get it at a better angle. And we're just gonna start adding chips, wood chips. That's from a 2x4. Nothing fancy. Give it a chance to catch. You need air, you need heat, and you need fuel. And sometimes when you add fuel, you're cutting off the air. So you gotta maintain that proper balance. It's not hard. We're gonna have an easy fire here. And again, we're gonna use this to make some new char cloth so you can see how that's done. It's quite easy. And we're gonna use this tin. Fire's already pretty dadgum hot. You can load it down as long as you don't smother it. You can load it down, let that wood start heating up. Again, you need that heat element for fire. And stacking it like this is actually heating that fuel up, preheating it, so that when it does start emitting gases, well, it'll start emitting gases and the fire will continue. Oops, there we go. I can't keep that one in. That one wants to jump out of the fire. Can't blame it. Who wants to be burned up like that? Who wants to be burned up? Yeah, this is gonna be a quick fire too, so I'm gonna have to get that char cloth ready. And it's really quite simple. I'm gonna reposition the camera for y'all again. And just lay them in, don't pack them. You want air to circulate, you want the gases to be able to escape. What's gonna happen here is you put it in the tin like this to keep oxygen out. So you're not going to have complete combustion. You're going to have all the fuels that are locked into the fibers heat up and escape and burn off once they escape the tin. And what's going to be left is carbon, basically carbon, that won't burn because it'll be in this tin that's going to keep the oxygen out. But anyway, that's what you're trying to do right there. I don't put a hole in my tin because there's so much room for the gases to escape around the edge and where these hinges are. I just found it wasn't real necessary. Then all you got to do is place the tin on the fire, let her cook. Oh, by the way, I've got a little video on this fire kit. It has the flint and steel, char cloth, and many other things to build fires with in this little under 6 ounce mini fire kit. Check it out. I've got a video on that. And I've got another video on char cloth you might want to look at, as well as a video on how to make charred punky wood. So check them out. I hate to see that pretty Hershey logo going, but well. Fire is burning down nicely. Ten, 15 minutes in a hot fire. You could go longer, but 10, 15 minutes generally is enough time to make it char for a small amount of cloth like that. Okay, let's fish it out of there. I don't see any smoke or flames coming out of the tin, so I'm going to take it out and we're going to set it over here. It's got to cool. If you opened it right now, it'd probably start glowing like charcoal and you'd lose your char cloth, or at least the effectiveness of it. So lay it out like that and let it cool completely before you open up the tin. Well, that elevated floor did its job. The coals are up here, but none are down at the bottom. You can see the stick all the way through. So that means that that elevated floor is allowing that fire to draw oxygen up through it. And that's going to assure a very hot fire. Good little stove. And I used some bigger expanded metal than that is usually used, but it seems to have done the job. She's done burnt down to coals, and before long that'll be nothing but ashes. But those ashes aren't going to go to waste. You'll see that in future videos being used for Ruttiger rolls or fire rolls, so stay tuned. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, she's cool to the touch. And it looks as though we have some nice char cloth here. What you want is nice, supple pieces of cloth. Let me get over here where I can show you. Nice, supple pieces of cloth where to bend and not break. Hope you can see that. I might have a glare on my screen, but as you get closer to the bottom where they were against the tin, they're not quite as supple. They're a little stiffer, and they seem to have a more of a glaze. But yeah, this was a successful batch. Let's use this stiff piece first and see how that works out. All right, flint and steel. You want to lay your cloth on a flat portion right here by a very sharp edge. These are some small pieces. I've started making my cloth a lot bigger. I don't know, I guess I just cut these small out of habit. Let's see how she fires up. Yep, one caught way, whoop. One caught way over here on this side. You never know where that spark is gonna catch the cloth. Looks like we have some good reactive cloth. Let's get some more pine needles and fire up another tinder bundle. I need to show you how you process this pine straw. You just twist it and mangle it. Do this. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to break it up where you have as much fibers and surface area as you can get. Ball it up. Anything you can do to get those fibers exposed, and you make a little bird's nest. It's called a bird's nest quite often too. But anyway, there we go. Now we're going to get a piece of this new freshly made char cloth. Tear it, get those frizzies. Get your rock, line the edge of the char cloth near one of those sharp edges. How about that one strike with that char cloth? One strike. It's burning. Burning my fingers. Yeah. Okay. pretty humid today. But there we go. Flint and steel. It ain't always pretty. That wasn't a pretty demonstration, but it worked. Flint and steel. Going into my new David West design stove. I want to thank David West for everything that he's taught me. He also likes to show his stove being fired up and burning at the end. So there you go, David. That's to you, my friend. If you like this video, please subscribe. Watch all of my videos.